and maintain compliance so we don't walk into a high-risk situation or receivership. And so until those kinds of essential systems come into play, I just envision that the challenges will be even more significant in the future. So again, you know, just in summation, I really call on everyone to take a look at what's going on in our island and make behavioral issues, behavioral health, and social issues a priority, because of the quality of life that we want for our people is not on the top of the list. I don't understand what else would be. So thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. And I think it says a lot for the diversity of the panel. In fact, to have you here, I know you mentioned that the other day, that it is very important for us to look at the social service impact as well. Mr. Scrow.
I think the best way to start my answer is to talk about our foundation just recently celebrated its first year anniversary. At our first Board of Directors meeting, the Board of Directors voted unanimously that despite the various purposes that we have in our articles and bylaws, that we focus on two. And one is to foster and improve the standard of care for the people of Guam. And the second is to advocate for the private hospital development on Guam. We as a board, as we worked closer with architects, engineers, now we're very pleased that we have a very reputable developer, an investment banker working with that developer. We went through a short list of operators, which I will discuss later, of the hospital. The site selection process went from 12 properties to now just 2. This thing is moving along, but I think that at least for a privately funded project, we felt it was prudent on our part to not include any calculations whatsoever with the military buildup. And some of you may be surprised why. Why would a group not count the additional supposed 20% increase in population? Well, we're talking about a 200-bed hospital. The estimated cost as of today, because it just rose in the past 8 months by 15% in construction costs, is going to cost the investors $300 million for a 200-bed hospital. $300 million of that, $75 million, is state-of-the-art equipment. It makes no sense from a business standpoint, from a private sector standpoint, to deal with speculation. And all of us in the foundation believe that there needs to be more information as to really what the environmental impact process is. The environmental impact process, the EIS, under the National Environmental Policy Act, in and of itself doesn't guarantee there's going to be a military buildup. There's still a lot of things that can happen. People may protest the environmental impact statement. Everybody in this room, there is nobody in this room, nobody in our foundation that has any political control over the Japanese government or over the government of the United States. So despite the fact that our entire planning, also the investment bankers, the accounting firm that was hired by the developer to do all of the projections, hospital development consultants, it was based on just the current demand of 170,000 people. Now, why is that important for us to understand? Because we can't even handle our 175,000 people. And before we can handle this military buildup, we have to first learn how to handle the facts as they exist today. We have 175,000 people and 1 cardiologist on this island. We have 175,000 people, and I don't know how long we've been in a physician shortage area. From the standpoint of the hospital development, although engineers and architects have said it will take 10 to 12 acres to build a 200-bed hospital, the developer has recognized the potential that this buildup will happen to the magnitude that it will be. So the property sites that are shortlisted, the 2 property sites, are between 16 to 20 acres, which would allow, in case the buildup actually happens, to add another 200 beds for a total of 400 beds. I think the last thing I want to say is that I'm very proud of the members of our foundation with the steps we've taken, and it's been a policy of mine, and I'm glad that the foundation members have supported me on this, that any donations we get, we will not use 1 penny of donated money for any of our members to travel abroad. They won't pay for hotel expenses, airfare. That's all out of our pocket. We have done at least 8 months worth of recruiting. I mean, you got to think of, if you're going to build a 200-bed hospital, that's nice and dandy, but if you can't staff it with physicians, it's worthless. So we just came back, for instance, 3 of us board members, we just met with the largest privately owned hospital in the world, which is based in Japan. They have hundreds of U.S. board-certified doctors. We have met with doctors in the Philippines, U.S. board-certified doctors. So we have also been to the States, to various universities, and met with them, and there are very unique ways of attracting them to come to Guam that even some of these universities were not aware of, because we are, in fact, a physician shortage area. So right now, I think the position of the foundation has been, despite the fact we're moving forward with helping to foster a greater standard of care by working with the likes of Dr. Berg to expand telemedicine on Guam. We've donated a blood cell counter to the Guam Memorial Hospital. We have held 5 conferences at no cost to people that are attending. We still need more doctors. And we've been very active in the recruiting process. The developer has been very respectful of the work of the foundation and is also very respectful of the unique culture of Guam and leans on us for an advice. And I'm very pleased that so far he has accepted all the advice that we have given him.
Thank you, Mr. Squirrel. All right, Captain Miller.
Thank you, Margaret, and thank you for the opportunity to be here and the invitation to speak today. I thought I'd just talk about a couple things that I get asked most about. First, most of you probably know that we have plans underway to build a new naval hospital here on Guam. And what many people don't know is that the new naval hospital replacement project was actually planned and programmed ahead of the build-up. So, as Peter mentioned, even though none of us have control whether the buildup will actually occur or not, the Naval Hospital Replacement Project is a separate standalone project, if you will, that will likely occur regardless of the buildup eventuality. So I just wanted to be clear with that. What has changed with the Naval Hospital project as related to the buildup is the addition of 2 very large outpatient clinics for both the naval station located down on the southern part of the island and the proposed Marine Corps base up in the Finnegayan area up north. Each of those outpatient clinics will be very robust, and much of the outpatient care that we deliver now in our existing facility, once those clinics are established and completed and opened, that outpatient care that we do now will be delivered in those 2 clinics north and south. The new hospital itself will primarily be for our inpatient care requirements and also specialty care services in our specialty clinics that we have. But what I want to talk about also for my opening remarks is that it's important to understand that the way the Navy views healthcare is not dissimilar to the way any other hospital views healthcare in a community. Healthcare is a local phenomenon. And even though we operate a facility that's located inside the gate, if you will, or inside the fence, we still view ourselves as a part of the community. And it's important to understand that. I have very close relationships with the Guam Public Health Department and GMH. As a matter of fact, the very first 2 meetings I had upon arriving in Guam were with J. Peter Roberto and Peter John Camacho to talk about the issues on Guam, how the Navy Hospital supports them in their efforts for the community, and how we can assist and collaborate together on all sorts of things. Certainly we're restricted in some of what we can do. Our primary mission is to support the active duty and active duty family members. However, we do provide a significant amount of care to citizens in the community. We provide emergency room support to the community and the EMS services on Guam. And it's also important to know that actually over 25% of our inpatient care is delivered to Guam veterans and retirees